Hey everybody, gwyned here. I'm going to show you how to set up your filters so you can make sure that the cards you're playing are in fact legal for Standard Pauper. So there's a couple different ways you can do this and some important things you got to keep in mind in the process. So we'll start out down here in the deck editor. You go into the deck editor and let that load up. And you'll see kind of the standard format here set up. I will go ahead and load up Arcbound Day Labor's Ugly Deck here. Load that into the deck editor here. And then once that's loaded, you can actually come up here and check. They've actually got a feature built right into the client that lets you check the legality of it. So you come up here into Stats, and then in the upper right-hand corner, click this drop box and come down to Format. And then you can check. It says right here, is this deck legal to play in Standard? Yes. Okay. And then you can also, then you need to scroll down if it's yes in Standard, and sometimes that's a little difficult to grab. Scroll down until you see Pauper. Is it legal for Pauper? Yes. Now if you notice all these other ones, it actually tells you exactly why the deck is illegal. So that can be very helpful if you've got a card in there that you shouldn't. It'll tell you exactly what it is or give you any reasons. So that's actually very, very helpful. All right, now the problem is, even though that particular feature is great, it's not foolproof because of the way the client filters cards. So there are a couple cards, actually a few cards, you got to keep in mind when you're going through this process. And I'm actually going to show you how you can see exactly what those cards are and make sure you don't include them in your Standard Pauper deck. So this time we're going to go over to our collection, and we're going to set things up here in a particular way. We're going to set it up, first of all, we just want to see standard cards. So we'll select that on our filter. We want common cards. And then also we want to make sure we don't have any of the foils in here. So we'll just drop down to regular. So all we see is cards that fit that filter. Now in here, as soon as you've got that set, the other thing I typically do, because I want to see all the cards, not necessarily just the cards I own, is you'll come up here to owned, and if you hit this greater than or equal to 0, it'll now show every card in the entire card pool that fits this criteria of standard, legal, but also common. Now, in case you don't know, what are the sets that are currently in standard? Well, that would be Zendikar, Worldwake, Rise of the Eldrazi, Shards of Alara, Conflux, Alara Reborn, and then coming down here, you've got Magic 2010 and Magic 2011. All right, so those are the sets that are currently in Standard. Now, anything that's going to be listed under those sets is going to be legal. You don't have to worry about that. So if you're going through looking for your cards, trying to figure out what you want to put in your deck, again, anything, if you've got your filter set up the way I've got it set, anything that's in there is going to be legal. The problem is there are cards shown here that aren't actually legal, and I will explain why. So first of all, I need to turn off the basic lands here because it's a little more confusing as we're going through these sets. So again, anything that's in these first ones are going to be fine. So I'm going to start out with Lorwyn. Okay, obviously these are fine. We'll kind of scroll down here until we get to an entry that I need to point out. All right, so here we go. Prodigal Pyromancer. Okay, now if you notice here, this looks like it would fit in Standard Pauper. Prodigal Pyromancer here is in fact a common, and Prodigal Pyromancer is standard legal. All right, Prodigal Pyromancer is a card that can be played in Standard. It's also a card that can be played in Pauper. The problem, however, is that Prodigal Pyromancer is not a common in the Standard set. Okay, the reason it's showing up in this filter is because it is a common in this set, which is Plane Chase. And if we were to go back and look at Magic 2010 and Magic 2011, it's in that set, but it's in that set as an uncommon. Alright, so in Standard Pauper, you're only allowed to play cards that are common in the current Standard set. So Prodigal Pyromancer would not be legal, and there's a few others that I'll point out as we go through these sets here. The next one would be Consume Spirit. Consume Spirit was in Magic 2010, but it was an uncommon. It's a common in Mirrodin. However, because it's not a common in the current set, it's not legal for Standard Pauper. You're starting to get the trend here, and again, there's just a few more that are like that, and I'll point them all out as we go through here. The next one will be Whisper Silk Cloak. All right, Whisper Silk Cloak is in Magic 2010 and Magic 2011, but it is an uncommon. It was a common in this set, but I believe it's Dark Steel, but it is not a common in Standard currently. Let's keep going here. There's a couple more worth pointing out. Again, there aren't a lot of these, fortunately, but they tend to be powerful cards, and if you're new to the format, it's easy to get tripped up on them. Corrupt, this would be another one. Corrupt was a common in this set. However, once again, it is not a common in Standard. It's an uncommon, and so it cannot be played in Standard Pauper. Alright, I believe there's only one more, and that would be Yes, Riverboa. Riverboa, again, same situation. This was a card that was reprinted in Worldwake, and it was reprinted as an uncommon. In Visions, it's a common. However, because it is an uncommon in the standard set, it is not standard legal. So I believe, yeah, that should be all the sets, all the cards you got to worry about with those that I mentioned. Okay, so now you know kind of the cards to look out for. One other trick I'll show you back here in the deck editor. If you come up here where it says all cards online and instead select standard, you can actually filter this list based upon rarity, but what you can do is you can sort it by rarity. And this allows you to very quickly keep all your commons grouped together, and you can look very quickly if you have any question, well, is this card actually legal in Standard Pauper? Well, all you have to do is check the set. Okay, and by checking the set, you can see whether a card is standard legal or not. So let's scroll down here just for an example to Prodigal Pyromancer, all right? And it becomes very clear as you're going through, if you were tempted to add that in, all you have to do is very quickly look at the set. And we'll scroll down here. Okay, so here we have Prodigal Pyromancer. My versions are 10th edition. And it's common, yes, but it's 10th edition, and 10th edition is no longer in standard. So it does require you to know what sets are in standard, but if you've been playing Magic for any length of time, that's something you'll pick up on really quickly. If you ever have a question, you can ask the Orc or someone else who's around, one of your fellow Standard Pauper players, and they'd be happy to help you with that. So you need to watch out for that. Make sure you don't get those, yeah, I think it's 5, 6 cards that you just want to make sure don't end up in your deck. So hope that's been helpful, and thanks for watching.